Okay, so the market's basically having a full-on meltdown right now. We're looking at $3,850 billion plus cents in crypto market cap. Everything's bleeding red, down 0.7% across the board. Bitcoin's sitting pretty at $108,000, but don't let that fool you. It's taking a nasty 6% haircut this week. Ethereum's getting roughed up too, down 6.8% weekly, hovering just above 4,300. And us? We've tumbled down to fourth place at 281, my friends, down 2.3% today, and ouch, 7.8% this week. The whole ecosystem's basically in free fall, and frankly, I saw this coming. Why? Because we're staring down the barrel of the final weekend before Congress decides to actually show up to work after their little vacation, which, let's be honest, nobody asked for. Classic move, really. They always pull this stuff. But here's the thing, they're about to walk back in, and guess what's first on their agenda? The Clarity Act. And I'm going to level with you here that Genius Act they rubber stamped, complete waste of paper without the market infrastructure bill backing it up. This market infrastructure bill is about to absolutely revolutionize everything we know about this space. Trust me on this. Plus, there are tons of other puzzle pieces falling into place today that I'm convinced are brewing the ultimate perfect storm for XRP to absolutely explode. Will we actually see those jaw-dropping numbers? Who knows, right? But the recipe for that perfect storm, I'm laying it all out for you in this video. All right, let's dive into this thing. Check out this price action. We're bouncing around between $2.77. Yeah, I totally whiffed on that $2.77 entry. But hey, I still managed to snag that dip. And you know what? Yesterday, I straight up told you guys I was going to buy it. Then my brain kicked in. Hold up. We're rolling into the weekend. Prices almost always tank on weekends, right? Man, feeling like a genius right now because I literally caught myself thinking, whoa there, Bradley, pump the brakes. You want to buy this dip? Just chill for a hot second. Let's see what Saturday is going to serve up. So this morning I pulled the trigger and bought that dip. Then watched it dip even more. But here's the kicker. I didn't chase it down. Usually my timing's absolute garbage. I buy the dip and then boom, it crashes harder. Am I right? But today I'm feeling pretty slick. Didn't go crazy with the position size, but I stuck to my game plan, bought that dip like a disciplined trader. All right, let's jump right into the thick of it. So Caitlin Long is absolutely livid right now. And she's basically calling out Ripple for what she's labeling legalized corruption. This whole thing's got me pretty fired up. And actually, funny you should ask. I just had this incredible deep dive conversation about all this drama with Paul Barron. That interview's dropping later this morning, so keep your eyes peeled. Massive props to Paul for bringing me on. Honestly, sitting down with that guy is always such a treat. Paul's brain works on another level entirely. And here's what I'm telling you. The more you tune into Paul Barron's content, the more you're going to realize this dude knows absolutely everything about this space. Like seriously, everything. Our conversation was absolutely phenomenal. I'm betting you guys are going to eat this up. We covered every angle imaginable, even dove headfirst into this whole Caitlin Long situation. Just wait till you hear this part.
Powerful people in the U.S., unfortunately, has legalized corruption in the form of pay to play. And boy, that's just the way it works. Anybody who makes political donations gets access. And we're seeing that right now in the scrum of whether Ripple will be part of the strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's been a big fight over that. And then now it turns out that Trump might not follow through with his advisory council and might instead do a series of summits because of the tribalism in our space. And that is mostly Ripple being the controversial one, but Ripple gave an enormous amount of money to politicians, and so they get access. It's so fascinating how it's just a pay-to-play system. It just is, and that's not, unfortunately, something in all the corruption that's being uncovered that is going to change anytime soon, because it's just the way the U.S. system works right now. McCain-Feingold, in retrospect, was a terrible approach because it basically made it so that money and access go together.
And here's what's really blowing my mind right now. What Caitlin Long just pulled off is basically torching all the goodwill she had with the XRP community. Because listen, I've been riding hard for Caitlin Long and Custodia Bank from the very beginning. And Caitlin, you just completely fumbled the bag here. What's driving me crazy is how she's conveniently ignoring the golden treatment Bitcoin and Ethereum have gotten for over a decade. Oh, we're not going to mention that little detail, are we, Caitlin? Let's just pretend this market hasn't been rigged in favor of Bitcoin and Ethereum while every other token got the shaft. And how about this? Caitlin's acting like Ripple's 5-year legal nightmare with the SEC never happened. She doesn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. So what, is that pay to play too? Was the whole witch hunt orchestrated by Jay Clayton and then passed down to Gary Gensler just some elaborate scheme? We got absolutely steamrolled here. These are stone cold facts that completely demolish her entire argument. All she's accomplished is shooting herself in the foot and alienating people who were actually in her corner. Look, I still think Caitlin deserves that banking license for Custodia Bank, but coming after Ripple when she knows exactly what legal hell we've been through, I'm going to be brutally honest here. It's absolutely revolting. It makes me sick to even hear this garbage. Don't sleep on that Paul Barron interview dropping today. We went absolutely nuclear on all this stuff. Trust me, you're going to love every minute of it. Let's roll. So here's what's really exciting about XRP's potential price surge. Picture this. We've got over 90 crypto ETFs floating around now, and guess what's leading the charge? XRP and Solana are absolutely crushing it. Sure, they're not all XRP focused, but man, there's a whole lineup just waiting to jump on the XRP bandwagon. Here's where things get juicy. October's looking like our golden window for seeing multiple XRP spot ETFs get the green light all at once. Can you imagine the market explosion that would create? I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely massive. And check this out. Hot off the press, Amplify ETF Trust just filed their post-offensive amendment for an XRP monthly option income ETF. Think about it. Investors could park their money there and collect monthly income while they wait for SEC approval. Seriously, how crazy do you think the demand's going to be for something like that? Monthly income from an XRP ETF? Sign me up. I'm definitely curious to learn more about those mechanics. Oh, and here's the kicker. Stephen McClurg is predicting XRP ETFs could pull in $5 billion in just the first month alone. Let me share this incredible quote with you. There's actually a part at the end that's so good, we're going to need to replay it twice.
Into this, the Ripple ETF or XRP ETF approval odds right now on Polymarket hovering at around 86%. So one of its highest points, but it looks like this is going to happen. And what is the likelihood of the timing for this right now?
I would guess that XRP would probably be this year. Either Eric or James from Bloomberg simply said, well, if there's futures at Coinbase, then you probably get an ETF in 2025.
Your statement at that time was $5 billion in the first month. Are you still holding to that? Do you think that's a possibility?
I really am. I would say after Bitcoin, XRP is probably the most well-known on Wall Street and on finance circles. And then ETH is actually probably number 3. So if you think about it that way, I do believe that XRP could potentially outperform ETH just from pure financial services standpoint.
Now, here's the thing. He's not even talking about regular retail investors here, folks. This is from a financial services perspective, which makes it even more incredible. I really want you to catch that last part again because it's absolutely crucial. Big props to Riz for picking up on that detail. He totally nailed it.
I would say after Bitcoin, XRP is probably the most well-known on Wall Street and on finance circles. And then ETH is actually probably number 3. So if you think about it that way, I do believe that XRP could potentially outperform ETH just from pure financial services standpoint.
All right, so let's break this down because the numbers are absolutely mind-blowing. We're looking at demand for around 20 ETFs come October, and Stephen McClurg is throwing around that $5 billion figure for just the first month. Major respect to that guy. But wait, it gets even crazier. JP Morgan saying we could see $8 billion rushing into XRP spot ETFs once they get the thumbs up. And get this, they're putting approval odds at 98% for this year. October's looking pretty darn likely for those approvals. Now, here's the kicker that everyone needs to understand. When $5 to $8 billion floods into these ETFs, that's literally $5 to $8 billion worth of XRP getting yanked off the market and locked away in custody. Keep that massive number in your back pocket. And speaking of corporate treasuries, we just got another juicy announcement. Gummies dropping 2.5 billion yen, that's roughly $17 million cents USD, on XRP, strengthening their partnership with major shareholder SBI. They're rolling this out this year, joining our growing family of XRP treasury companies. We're now at 10 publicly announced XRP treasury companies. But here's what keeps me up at night. How many others are sitting quietly on the sidelines thinking, yeah, we haven't said anything yet, but we're totally doing this too? Maybe BlackRock jumps in? I can practically feel them prepping an ETF. So picture this perfect storm. Corporate treasuries gobbling up XRP, these ETFs about to get approved, and vacuum $5 to $8 billion worth of XRP right off the market. And then flares talking about their mission going live. Wait until you hear what they're planning.
With the DeFi ecosystem within XRP now starting to expand, how much do you think is going to be unlocked just this year, in the last few months of this year?
I mean, I'd like to see Flare at 5 billion XRP by mid-2026. Don't know about the last period of this year. Market's a bit volatile, but I'd like to see Flare at 5 billion XRP.
5 billion.
So let's dive into this because the timing is absolutely insane. We're looking at $5 to $8 billion worth of XRP vanishing from ETFs in just a month or two. That's lightning fast. Meanwhile, corporate treasuries keep expanding, continuously snatching more XRP off the market. And if Hugo nails his predictions, we're talking about 5 billion XRP completely disappearing from circulation. Are you starting to see the picture here? But wait, we haven't even touched on the daily usage yet. Think about everyone using XRP for actual payments, clearing, and settlement operations. Hidden Road alone settles $3 trillion annually. Imagine how much of that massive pie XRP could eventually capture. And here's something that'll blow your mind. Hidden Road just scored approval and licensing to help the DTCC settle over $1 quadrillion in securities. $1 quadrillion. The breakout potential here is absolutely astronomical. And you've got Ripple's National Trust Bank Charter License and Federal Reserve Master Account applications sitting in the pipeline. We should hear back on those somewhere between October and November. Now, here's where it gets really wild. What if all of this hits simultaneously? My goodness, we need to wrap our heads around what that actually means. We're not just talking about individual catalysts here. We're talking about the multiplier effect when everything converges at once. You know what drives me crazy? People keep saying, oh, if XRP hits $30 or $50, it means it'll have some ridiculous $1 trillion market cap. But here's the thing. It doesn't work like that at all, because XRP isn't a stock. This is a utility asset, folks. When something actually has real world utility, the demand flooding into the market can absolutely rocket the price upward. It's basic supply and demand economics. There's this brilliant 3-minute breakdown by Zach Rector that I've shared before. Huge shout out to Zach because he absolutely nails this concept. He breaks down JP Morgan's $8 billion projection in a way that just clicks. But here's what you really need to grasp: the multiplier effect. This isn't just about throwing money at XRP. The multiplier effect is all about how much actual cash it takes to smash through those buy and sell walls and drive the price up at any specific moment. Think of it like a dam. You don't need to fill the entire reservoir to make the water overflow. You just need enough pressure at the right spots to break through the barriers. But here's the thing about the multiplier effect. It's totally organic and constantly shifting based on whatever's happening in that exact moment, plus how big and deep those markets are running. That's the whole picture right there. And honestly, Zach absolutely nails this breakdown. You've got to hear what he says. So let's connect all the dots we've been talking about here. We're looking at somewhere between $5 to $8 billion flowing in over about a month, right? All those ETFs are just soaking up that $5 to $8 billion cents. Then boom, in under a year, we've got $5 billion worth of XRP getting locked up on Flare. What's that going to do to the price? And here's where it gets really interesting. When Ripple lands that license, and I've got a strong feeling they will, How fast do you think the financial world jumps on board? How quickly do they flip the switch on those payment rails, all that movement, settlement, and clearing magic? The big question is, what chunk of those payment flows are they actually going to push through? Are we talking the full 100%? Maybe just 5%, could be 10, 15. Nobody knows that magic number yet, but here's what I can tell you. Everything's perfectly lined up. Just listen to what Zach's about to drop here.
Exposing the XRP market cap myth. Now, of course, anybody can calculate the market cap on XRP or any other digital asset. You take the last traded price by the circulating supply, it gives you a market cap. And for XRP, we're at about a $3.30 XRP all-time high. We got about 57 billion circulating coins. It's over $180 billion market cap, approaching 200 billion. But it's not a one-to-one ratio as far as market cap grows by $1 billion if $1 billion comes in. What we're seeing on XRP is a dramatic market cap multiplier. And that's what I'm going to be breaking down here in today's whiteboard session. Let's make it quick, simple, and yes, we are going to explain how we reach a $33 XRP based off of conservative assumptions from JP Morgan. Stay tuned. Getting started here yesterday, this is what we observed. By the way, you got two examples here, one of XRP price going up, one of XRP price going down. Take a look. Yesterday, XRP starts pumping. The market cap grows by $17 billion off of only $80 million of inflows into XRP. There's buying, there's selling. The net inflow during this was a 4-hour window, was 80 million of inflows, led to 17 billion market cap growth. And what you see here is that's a market cap multiplier of 212. Very dramatic. Now, check this out. It works going down as well too. Just as quickly as it goes up, it can come down. Now, this is then when the SEC filed their appeal brief yesterday. And yes, this does add to the damages done. The red folder just grew by about 15 billion. Because when the SEC filed their appeal briefs, the market cap loss on XRP, the price went down from about 320 all the way down below $3. We lost 15 billion of our market cap, but only 55 million of outflows. This gives us, once again, another market cap multiplier above 200 here at 279. Now, in other examples of this in the past couple weeks, I've tracked the market cap multiplier for XRP being above 589. And in one instance, we even saw it up into the thousands. So XRP, the point being, is a very easy asset to move, both up and down. But this is where it gets exciting, because JP Morgan this week gave us the prediction that XRP ETFs will see 4 to 8 billion of inflows as soon as they go live within the first year. I think that that's a very conservative assumption. I think that JP Morgan's onto something there. And so what I did is I just took that 8 billion of inflows into our ETFs, and you times that by 212, which is what we were doing here yesterday. That's going to give you market cap growth of 1.7 trillion. Now, XRP's market cap's already at about 200 billion, so I'm just adding 200 billion to that 1.7 trillion. It brings it to about a $1.9 trillion market cap for XRP. Assuming a 58 billion circulating supply, you are at about a $33 XRP.
So there you have it, folks. Zach absolutely crushed that one. We've actually shared this before, but man, it's such a brilliant breakdown. He totally nailed it. And honestly, I think Zach's definitely one to watch. This guy's going places. We're all on the same page there, right? So check this out. Maybe this is exactly why Raoul Pal is now saying XRP is ready to absolutely rocket to those higher levels. Yeah, and it all comes down to this chart he's putting up right here. When you take a look at this thing, you can see the whole story playing out through history, you know, and then boom, right here we get that breakout. But here's what's really fascinating. See this resistance line where it keeps bumping its head? Bam, right there in 18, we smacked right into it, actually pushed through a bit, right? Then bam, we hit that same line again recently, pushed through again, bam, hit it and bounced right off, pulled back down, retraced, then we climb back up, bam, touched it again, and guess what? Pushed right through. And now we're literally dancing right around that line, up and down, up and down. Look, you don't need to be some chart wizard to get this. If we can flip this red line from resistance into support, then we're absolutely ready for that full send. That's exactly what Raul's been telling us, right? And here's where it gets crazy exciting. start stacking up all these different pieces. And we still don't know exactly how many players are going to jump on board for payments, but our gut says it's going to be massive. So what's the price going to look like when all those ETFs get the green light? That list of corporate treasuries just keeps getting longer and longer. We've got 5 billion XRP potentially getting locked up on Flare networks if Hugo's reading this right. And then picture this. Amazon jumps in, all those super apps like X and Facebook finally open their doors to digital assets, whether we're talking stable coins or straight up crypto. How much is that going to shake up the market? How much demand is that going to create for this asset? And don't even get me started on the back end, the enterprise financial world. How much of this stuff are they going to start weaving into their day-to-day operations? Honestly, when I really sit with all of this, full port feels like exactly the right way to think about it. Maybe that's why Crypto Bull isn't just seeing that $37 on the chart. He's calling 180. Just pick your number, right? And Ed Gregg Crypto, he's throwing around 200. So will it hit 18, 27, maybe 37? Or are we actually going to see those wild $200 or $180 targets? Honestly, I have no clue. And you know what? Neither do they. But what they're doing is painting the picture of what's actually possible when you look at these charts. And when you step back and check out all the fundamental stuff happening right now, we've got that Telecommunications Act coming. There's absolutely zero reason those ETFs shouldn't get approved. And then we're looking at all that launching and locking up happening on Flare networks. Every single one of these things is a catalyst, and they're all working together like clockwork. There's this window coming up, this moment in time that honestly looks like the perfect storm to launch XRP to whatever heights it's really meant to reach. And look, I'm gonna be real with you. As a 50-year-old guy who's been around the block, I completely whiffed on so many opportunities when the internet first exploded. But this time, I'm not missing it. And neither are you. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for me today. Obviously, not financial advice for me or anybody else, just sharing my thoughts here. I'll see you all on the next one. But seriously, we are literally just days away from Congress getting back from their break. It's exactly where we're sitting right now. So, hey, grab the dip if you can swing it. And if you can't, just hang tight. Not financial advice, but man, this is going to be one heck of a ride. There's so much incredible news ahead for all of us. Catch you on the flip side.